Welcome to Wisdom Education Services. This video is copyright. Today we're going to talk about the writing task 1 of the IELTS test. As you might be knowing, the writing task 1 may consist of a bar chart, a pie chart, a diagram, a flow chart, a process chart. It contains a lot of information which you have to present in a limited time in a particular range of words. The time that you are provided for the writing task 1 for academic IELTS is 20 minutes. Even for general IELTS, the writing task 1 has to be completed in a time period of 20 minutes. However, this is the academic writing task 1. Let's go ahead and read the instructions. The bar chart depicts revenues of a company in a time period of 2004 to 2008. Describe the following bar chart in not less than 150 words. So not less than 150 words means that you have to write a minimum of 150 words. However, the maximum word limit is not specified. That means you can keep on writing as long as you want. But remember, you have only 20 minutes because you have to denote the remaining 40 minutes to the writing task 2. Now, this is a bar chart as mentioned in the question itself. However, we can see in the chart itself that this is a bar chart. It has red colored bars. On the x-axis, we have revenue by year. For 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007 and 2008. This is the basic bar chart. On the y-axis we have numbers that represent revenues of the company in these 5 years. Now remember, the revenues are not just 0, 250 and 500. They are in $1 million. So that is the unit which you need to specify every time you write a number. So the values are from 0 to $250 million and $500 million. So let's go ahead and start with the task. Before attempting to write the task, you must plan out what you are going to write, just a brief outline. So as you might be knowing that there is an introduction, a body and a conclusion that has to be given. The introduction, which we will write soon, will introduce the reader to the topic, that is the bar chart. The body of the paragraph contains the main information and the conclusion is like a summary of what we have already written. So let's go ahead and start with the introduction. First of all, we need to mention what kind of a figure lies in front of us. Now, this is a bar chart, so we will begin like this. The bar chart shows, or we can use the word describes, or we can use the word elaborates, or we can use the word elucidates. However, I'm going to use the word represents. You can use any of the words that I have just told you. The bar chart represents information on revenues of a particular company in a time period from 2004 to 2008. This is the first sentence of our introduction. The bar chart represents information on revenues of a particular company in a time period from 2004 to 2008. Right? Now we have to give the information on what is present on the x-axis and the y-axis. So we can write the x-axis shows the years 2004 to 2008 The y-axis quantifies the revenues in a range of 0 to $500 million. So this is our introduction. The bar chart represents information on revenues of a particular company in a time period from 2004 to 2008. The x-axis shows the years 2004 to 2008. The y-axis quantifies the revenues in a range of 0 to $500 million. Now remember, whenever we use words like x-axis or y-axis that involves a little dash between two different words, now this word will be counted as one single word. So y-axis is one word and x-axis is another word. Now if you remember, our word limit is minimum 150. So we have to write at least 150 words. So let's go ahead and count the number of words which we've written till now. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So approximately 15 till here, 20, 25. So I can say we have written around 30 words in our introduction. It's better to keep counting the words side by side because you also get a break from your writing. It does not become very boring. And plus you have an account of how many words you've written in your mind. So let's go ahead and start with the body paragraph. Let me just go ahead and take care of this now. Now the body can be divided into two paragraphs, so we can even keep it as one single paragraph. So let's just go ahead and start writing the body. Now we can do two things. Either we can do this year by year, or we can divide the information first into 2004 to 6 and then from 2007 to 8. So I'll go with the second option. Let's go ahead and start describing the year 2004. In the year 2004, the revenues of the company were, now you can see the bar chart is somewhere here, which is more than halfway between 0 and 250. Now halfway between 0 and 250 would be 125, so we can say it's more than 125. Were more than $125 million. Now remember, whenever you have to write a figure, you have to mention the units million dollars every time. In the next year, the revenue increased to, now you can see in 2005 the revenues are just about 250. So the revenues increased to a little less than $250. Not $250, it's $250 million. However, the year 2006 saw a huge jump in revenues. So you can easily see from the graph that in year 2006 there was an increased number that we can see in the revenues of the company. So we will go ahead and write that down. The revenues reached a peak of, peak means the highest point, $500 million, if we can see over here in 2006. So peak of $500 million. Now this is our first body paragraph where we have explained information on 2004, 2005 and 2006. Let's go ahead and count this one as well. So this is approximately around 40 words in length. And remember, do not count the numbers or the signs like the dollar sign, just simple English words. And words as small as a are also counted as a word. So to, a, little. These are 3 words that you can see. Let's go ahead and start the next paragraph, the last body paragraph, so to say. Alright, so let's go ahead. In the year 2007, the revenues of the company declined by almost. Now what difference can you see between this and this? This is 500 and this is a little less than 250, so let's say around 230. So 500 minus 230 would be around 270 or 260. So we can say by almost $260 million. Now we're using the word almost because we are not completely 100% sure. So we can use the word almost or approximately. The final value of the revenues of the company was, you can see here, was less than $250 million. In the year 2008, there was a further means more, there was a further reduction in the revenues, and they means the revenues, and they reached a low point of, now over here you can see it's less than half, but it's even lesser than what was the revenue in 2004. So in 2004 we were saying more than 125, so we can say less than $125 million. Now this is the information. If you can see in the first paragraph, we have explained information on 3 years, 2004, 2005 and 2006. And in the last paragraph, we have given information on 2007 and 2008. But you can see the length of the paragraph 2 of the body is more as compared to the length of the paragraph of the body number 1. So what I'm trying to show here is that you can change the length of the words according to your word limit and according to the amount of information that you are provided. Now otherwise in first class that seems to be a very small bar chart because it does not have a lot of information, just a few basic points it has, and we have to present that in not less than 150 words. So as we can see, let's go ahead and count this information. So this would be around 50 words. The first paragraph was 30 words, the second for 40, and the third one was for 50. So our total comes out to be around 120 words. So we just need to write another 30 words to make sure the the time limit and the word limit is maintained. Let's go ahead with the conclusion. For the conclusion, we can write it can be concluded that maximum revenues were seen, or not, instead of seen we can use the word observed, in the year 2006. If you remember, that's the middle year. So maximum revenues were observed. Maximum should have a small m because it's in the middle of the sentence. The value was $500 million. But in the other years, the value of the revenues was less than. Now we have to check that in 2004, 5, 7 and 8, what was the value? So we'll just go ahead and check that information. Alright, so as you can see here, in 2005, 7, 8 and 4, all the values were below this line that represents $250 million. So we can state in our conclusion here, but in the other years the value of the revenues was less than $250 million. Thus, it can be said that the company was most profitable in the year 2006. So that is our conclusion, and that ends the writing task. However, we are not finished. Let's go ahead and check the number of words. So I'm sure there would be more than 30 words in the last paragraph, and our total comes out to be more than 150. Let's go ahead and check and revise. It's always very important to leave at least 5 minutes at the end of the writing task just for revision. You should just put in around 20 minutes of writing, 5 minutes of planning before writing, and 5 minutes of revision after writing. So while revision, you have to check for capital alphabets, for small alphabets, for numbers. You have to check whether you've put units after every information that you've given. So let's go ahead and start checking. The bar chart represents information on revenues of a particular company in a time period from this to this. The x-axis shows the years this to this. The y-axis quantifies the revenues in a range of 0 to $500 million. Now this is perfect. Let's go to this paragraph. In the year 2004, the revenues of the company, remember to check spellings too. So here revenues is correct. The revenues are more than $125 million, and the next year the revenues increased to a little less than $250 million. However, the year 2006 saw a huge jump in revenues. The revenues reached a peak of $500 million. Coming to the third paragraph, in the year 2007, the revenues of the company declined by almost $260 million. Now, this is the difference between the revenues of 2006 and 2007. So that's why we're using the word declined by almost $260 million. This is not the final figure, but the difference. The final value of the revenues of the company was less than $250 million. In the year 2008, there was a further reduction in the revenues, and they reached a low point of less than $125 million. So we've used $1 million after every information about every data that we have provided, and till here the writing is perfect. Over here, it can be concluded that maximum revenues were observed in the year 2006. The value was $500 million. But in the other years, the value of the revenues was less than $250 million. Thus, it can be said that the company was most profitable in the year 2006. Now, this was a very easy and a very basic bar chart description, and it does not have any problems, no spelling mistakes, so this is absolutely perfect. However, before ending the video, I would like to tell you a few factors on which your score depends. Now, your band score depends on the following factors. First of all, your vocabulary. Vocabulary does not mean necessarily very difficult words, but words like a huge jump, or peak, a little less than, more than, declined by, a low point, further reduction in revenues, most profitable, these simple words. After vocabulary, you grammar, structure, and variation. You do not have to use a simple kind of sentence every time you write something. There has to be a lot of variety and your grammar should be correct. Then you have to talk about sentences that go in an order. Here you can see not even one sentence is out of the order. So each sentence should be linked to the second sentence because each information has its own place. After 2004, you cannot write information of 2007 and then come back and write information of 2005 and 2006. So 2004 is followed by 2005, followed by 2006, and so on. And then the conclusion, and remember the introduction as well. So after cohesion, the important thing is task achievement. Have you achieved whatever was asked in the task or not? So it's better to read the question at least twice so that you can get a better hang of what is being asked and what you have to answer. Alright. So this was all in this video, and for more videos you can keep looking for in this space. That's all for today. Thank you.